Well, welcome back, everybody. Dennis Darville with you again, coming to you from the Secession Golf Club just outside of Beaufort, South Carolina. It's in the wee hours of the morning. I'm on the back porch of just a magnificent cottage. Yesterday, along with three friends from our Links Fellowship at Coosa Country Club, we were the guest of one of the members here. We got to play. It was a little chilly, not bad. A little blustery, right down here in the marsh, just a magnificent design. Originally a Pete Dye, but Bruce Devlin finished the project. Magnificent golf course. We're going to be out on the first tee here in about 2 hours. But I thought I would come to you with this episode early this morning. Today's episode, or this installment, is Knowing God, the Lord is our shepherd. Now, this is a very familiar image that people are familiar with, a metaphor that most Christians are really familiar with. John 10, 1 through about 15 is our base text this morning, where Jesus' self-designation is, I'm the good shepherd. And then, of course, playing off Psalm 23, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, where he's the long-awaited shepherd that will come and shepherd the people of God through this life and the life to come. And so I just thought this would be the most appropriate time to talk about this. I remember years ago, I was invited to give a lecture at the University of Virginia, and I was doing so in their chapel, and I was in the back waiting to come out to give the lecture. And I looked in a particular box. It was kind of a dusty, musty old box in the back, and it was filled with little copies of the New Testament along with the Psalms, in particular with an emphasis on Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, a very famous psalm. And inside the cover of this little New Testament was a short letter from then President Dwight Eisenhower, encouraging the soldiers who were about to go to World War II. This was a government-issued Bible, encouraging them to really pray Psalm 23 over themselves, over our soldiers, as they go off to battle. It was a poignant moment for me as I just thought about all the heroic men and women who went off to defend freedom and to basically stamp out tyranny and the evil. And it's just remained with me all these years thinking about Jesus' self-designation that I am the good shepherd. The Apostle Peter in 1 Peter 5 would describe him as the great shepherd. And so, as a shepherd, responsible to lead and to protect and to guide and to provide, to lead us beside still waters, into green pastures. His rod and staff are there to correct our course. It's just a loaded piece of imagery. And I tied this together because I was recently watching a very intriguing video about with Scotty Scheffler and his swing coach, Randy Smith, who's emeritus now, but was the longtime director of golf at Royal Oaks in Dallas. And they were just going back and forth. And Scotty just said about Randy, look, he's like family. He entered my life when I was 7 years old. So together for 22 years, they've been countless hours on the range with Randy, obviously as a little boy, nurturing Scotty in his love for the game, tweaking his swing a time or two, and then helping him navigate his life through amateur golf, collegiate golf, and now professional golf. And of course, we know all the things that Scotty has accomplished, but he not only attributes his success to his caddy, Teddy. He not only attributes his success to his family, his very close-knit family. He really wants to call attention to the guy who's been like a surrogate dad to him all these years, his swing coach. And so, all of us, I don't know if you're like me, but most of us, if not all of us, have had that PGA professional somewhere in your youth or young adulthood that's kind of guided you in life, especially on your swing or how to strategically think your way through a golf course. I know at our Links Fellowship back home, if there's any moment where there's a lot of laughter, a lot of reminiscing, a lot of nostalgia, is when all these guys who've been at Coosa Country Club since their childhood, they want to go back and remember Bert Seagraves, who was a PGA Club pro, who helped Larry Nelson, the great Larry Nelson, navigate his way into the professional ranks and win in a considerable manner. So, our swing coaches, our PGA pros, they are like shepherds. They shepherd our lives on and off the golf course. And so today, I think what you're going to discover, and hopefully it resonates with you and encourages you. Look, we need to find that person that we can trust. Having a shepherd is someone that you can trust. Jesus said, "My sheep know my voice, and they will follow me." So you look through Scripture, and one of the things you quickly discover is everybody's casting about, trying to find that one that they can trust. And we live in a culture that's just, well, we're quart low, maybe 3 quarts low on trust. You look around, think about all the scandals in collegiate and professional sports. We're in the middle of one right now. Think about, you scratch your head for a minute or two and maybe come up with 1 or 2 politicians that you can trust. It's really a sad commentary, isn't it? Even the halls of academia, these men and women, these bespectacled, respected men and women, these scholars, we're now hearing reports over and over again of these scientists who are falsifying their reports. So sadly, even science can be falsified. So, we're just looking around for somebody to trust. And the one place you think you could look and should be able to look is to the church, right? And we would think we would find leadership that with impeccable integrity. And then just over the last many years, every time we turn around, we see these Elmer Gantries, who've just so disappointed us. Now, granted, like Billy Graham once said, look, for every plane that tragically crashes, there's thousands upon thousands that remain in the air. So you can't become too cynical, right? Too jaded, because we see ministers who fall and then just become so disenchanted. We can't go there. But in a world that's jaded and cynical and dark and broken, we are people, especially here in the West, really casting about, trying to find that person, that institution that's not compromised, that we can really trust. Well, here's the thing, and it's no surprise here, nothing novel here. This is not breaking news. The one place you can place your trust that you will never be disappointed is in the Messiah. In the Old Testament, over and over again, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, the Psalter are looking forward to that time when the great shepherd would arrive, who would shepherd the people of God into the future. Ezekiel, Jeremiah really lament and bemoan the fact that Israel's leadership were, imposters. They were shepherds that were all about themselves. Rather than feeding and guiding the flock, they were feeding and taking care of themselves. And so, this has been going on for a long time. But here's the deal. With Jesus Christ, you'll never be disappointed, ever. It's impossible. It's utterly impossible. The one who gave his life for us, the one who sacrificed, who suffered horrific ridicule, and who suffered unimaginably so physical and soulish abuse from nefarious forces, the one who was mocked and had grave injustices committed against him by Israel's then religious leaders and by Rome. So it was both Israel and the Gentiles coming together, conspiring against Christ. He gave his life for us, was buried, and then raised from the dead, and in an immortal body, and now sits at the right hand of God the Father. Well, the one thing Scripture is really clear about is he's our shepherd. He's the one you can trust. You can trust him when he advises you. You can trust him to comfort you. You can trust him to strengthen you. You can trust him to provide for you, to protect you, to guard you, to be close to you. And so I hope this week, as you read this devotional, as you study the PDF, you'll come away greatly encouraged knowing there is a place, there is a foundation, there is a person where you can place your trust and never be disappointed. I'm glad you joined us, and I'll see you next Friday.